Chart time. So I wanted to, like how I labeled this, Abooot. Have to get past those algorithms. Anyways, so I wanted to point out a couple of relationships that are in the old paradigm of the pyramid that was going on and the movie that we're watching be collapsed. And so I kind of wanted to show you some of the info that might help tie it together. So, anyways, I wrote out last year on another couple of charts, but I just quickly did this one again, so excuse the messy writing. It's not, it's just meant for viewership so that uh, we can all see, and sometimes there's glitches in the matrix, so you can't hear what I'm saying, so at least this way you can see. Anyways, so as you can see, this is a log. We're talking about logs today. And you can find these things on there's lots of places, but the other one that's handy is Weinstein's list, because it's all of these names plus more, okay? So I did a video on those for 2020. And they're in my year in review. I actually go through every name on both lists. So I already did that at the beginning of 2021. So if you want to watch those hour-long videos. But I want to point out a couple of names on here. This one, obviously, that's in big writing here, gasoline. The reason why, obviously, it's important to note that she is on these flight logs because it's not just about this, but she also had a submarine license, and she was the owner of Terramar, and that's Terramar, and that's now been dissolved because this guy got charged and da da da. See, like there's a big flash, ba-ding. So we're gonna get that. But you can see there's presidents on here. You can see that there's this guy who went there. Let me just bring that closer if you can't see. Let me spell it out. Billclinton. He went there 26 times, okay? So a lot of famous people were just like, as per all documentation, when you take a plane anywhere, you have to be on how many souls are on board. So, hence these. So, as you can see, Anderson Cooper, oh, there's the guy that just shot a gun. Some very famous movie stars, and we all know some of these stars have been outed already, like Charlie Sheen. Come on, people, like, and Chrissy Teigen. If nobody's read her texts, like about her, just disgusting. So I believe all these people are gone. Okay, I believe all of these people have been dealt with because, again, if we go back to the video that I did this morning, they have it all on everything, on everyone, everything you've ever done. So, so yeah, there's a video about this girl. If you haven't seen this person kissing a 14-year-old boy, that was shunned from the internet for a while. Like, some of these actually have a lot of, like, you can see people in pictures, etc. So here's some more. James Franco. They misspelt his name twice. Jeffrey and Jeffrey. Right underneath Jim Carrey. Oh, there's Chrissy Teigen's husband, John Cusack, or John Legend, I should say. Meryl Streep. Michelle Wolf is the name right at the bottom here. Kathy Griffin. Well, we all know that if you've watched, I can't even say it, but Pervy dash Wood, it's all one word. I had to put the dash in there for obvious reasons. But if you haven't watched that series, it links a lot of these people together. Okay, so I'll go into a little bit of what I can remember off the top of my head. So forgive me. But anyways, so you get the hint. Robert Downey Jr., Quentin Tarantino, like Oprah. There we go. Oliver Sacks. There's some Rothschilds on here. Blah, blah, blah. Marshall Mathers. Yes, Eminem. Kevin Spacey, there's another one we all know is a big pervo. So these names aren't shocking. So Woody Allen, we all know he would have been there. That's a no-brainer. But if you didn't go watch the videos, you can go find videos of the victim of this top person. And I believe I can remember his name. His last name I think is Brown. I think you guys can put it in the comments if you remember, but you can see videos about his accuser. So everything about Jada and him and their relationship and all that is just a distraction, obviously. So, and then here's the one of the big ones, Tom Hanks. So, Steven Spielberg. These are all the people who are yelling the loudest also at TURUMP, right? So, and as we know, Prince Andrew, if you haven't watched Out of Shadows Part 2, it's not by the same people who did Part 1, but it's the English version. They talk about how all of this clown got away with doing all of his dirty deeds on this island. And there's always like security detail, there's always the police force on like whatever airport you're leaving from. They have to go through security checks. We all know, like, if they're the fake lizard was coming to town, or the president or something, we all have to go through these security checks to be around these people. Like, what happened to all that paperwork? Same thing with Trudeau. Okay, we're going to talk about Trudeau a lot in some detail here in a minute. I brought my belt pens for more charting. So we're gonna I looked this up. You guys can go do your own research. This is why I always say to people, like, this stuff is easy to find if you want to find it. It's just whether or not you can get past your own anger with all of these people to go do and like see where all that bad blood was. So anyways, we're gonna get on to celebrities related to each other category. This is a so Lily Allen, she's a singer. Her brother's the redhead on Game of Thrones. I did not know that. Al Roker and Lenny Kravitz, they share a great grandfather. Melissa McCarthy and Jenny McCarthy, they're cousins. I didn't know that either today. Liev Schreiber, I didn't even know who this guy, what his name was, but I've seen him a million times. He's the porn stash guy on Orange is the New Black. His name's Pablo. They're brothers. They're half brothers. They got the same father. So Brandy and Ray J, everybody knew they were brothers and sisters. I didn't even know who the hell they were actually until today. They're Snoop Dogg's cousin, so they're all related. Steven Spielberg and that girl from Grey's Anatomy, the blonde-haired one with the one leg, I think. That was her character. That's her stepfather, Steven Spielberg. Ew, just grosses me out on so many levels. Blech. So if you know all the things you need to know about Steven Spielberg, just look up Heather O'Rourke. So Rip Torn and Sissy Spacek were cousins. I did not know that. So I know who David Spade is because I went and trolled him last year on Instagram, and he private messaged me and called me names. Anyways, so Kate Spade is his sister-in-law. I had no idea. I think that's the girl who died and was making handbags. Wasn't it the same person? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I think that's who it was right off the top of my head. Christian Bale, Gloria Steinem was his stepmom for a few years. I'm like, say what? This one blew my mind. Rob Schneider, that weirdo from, I think, Deuce Bigalow or whatever he's in. His daughter is Ellie King, that blues funk person. I had no clue. Jason Sudeikis, that weird guy off of, I think, Hall Pass. His uncle is George Wendt from Cheers. I had no idea. I knew this one. Shirley MacLaine and Warren Beatty were brother and sister. That's creepy. So, anyways, here's some more royal connections. So Johnny Depp and Lizard Breath, they're cousins. I forgot which cousins. I forgot to write that down. So Ray Fiennes, who also has a brother is P. Charles's eighth cousin. I don't even like to use that word that So here's the one that pissed me right off today. I was like, triggered. Tom Hanks and Fred Rogers are sixth cousins. Sixth cousins. And he is the collector of, his real last name isn't even Hanks. He's, I'm gonna screw this up. He's not a Rothschild. He's a, what's the other one? Anyways, he's one of the crappy reptilians. And he's the one that's been basically, I'll just put the A drug that everybody's connected to in the 1% of all the bad people. He's the distributor and basically supplier of it in Hollywood. And the reason his last name is Hanks, and I read this somewhere, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is because he chose it as the handkerchief murders, like that are done on a door handle. It's all part of a SRA. So that's, again, just what I read. This is my interpretation. Again, discern, do your own research. Kate Middleton, Ellie Fanning, they're distant cousins through King Edward I, Larry David, and Bernie Sanders. If you don't know who Larry David is, they look exactly alike. They're cousins. They're probably the same meat suit, just with two different names. That's just my interpretation. Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci, they're sister-in-laws. Carrie Fisher and Billie Lourd. I don't know who this girl is, but I know her mom was, again, famous. So everybody's related to everybody is what I'm getting at, okay? Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Not only are they bum buddies, but they're 10th cousins. Ellen DeGeneres, well, we know she's what are those, a Rothschild. And Kate Middleton's her cousin. Kate Middleton got a letter, or Ellen got a letter on the wedding or some bull crap from genealogy saying they were related. This is the crap they put out. Anyways, Amy Schumer and Chuck Schumer. And who is Chuck Schumer? Well, look it up. That's an important relationship right there. He's in the politics, man. So what we're going to do now is just my interpretation of the Canadian. Hope you enjoyed that little blurb. I did a whole bunch more last year on who is related to who. So we're going to take our, in Canada here, and put his actual real parents on here. Oops, I spelled that wrong. And Sinclair. And thank you to Oracle for teaching me about this. This last name is basically, if we're looking at this as, like it's kind of like the top of the bad people's name, like from Scotland. They come from the original yucky bloodline, okay? So you can read all about her relationship with this person in her autobiography, and she admits to it. And then when you put these pictures together, you can see them very closely. So he has a couple of siblings, or she had a couple, but one that died, his nickname that was given to him by his, I think, father, was that. And he originally apparently died. Here's the clicker, because I lived in this area in the same around, not the same time he died, but I've been through all the seasons in that area. So he died around Nelson in an avalanche, and it was a time, and then they apparently washed his body into the lake. Well, there's not enough snow to do that during November or whenever the heck he died the first time. And then apparently there was another death of him 5 months later where he died in a car crash. So what did he know and why? So let me give you some ideas on maybe what he knew, okay? So I'm guessing that he found out that this guy, and let's just pick an easy one here, because we've all seen them in pictures together. Okay, are friends. Okay, they had that bromance going on. And they were doing deals and everything. But what a lot of people didn't know is behind the scenes, they both had ties to companies. And you can go look that up. There's a lot of scandals regarding this stuff, okay? This guy also was good friends with, and he ran Lionsgate Films. Everybody's seen a Lionsgate film, I'm sure. That's out of Vancouver. He also owned another really, really bad company that made these films. And where were they made out of, you wonder? For all the new people that haven't watched these videos before, be prepared. Ground yourself. So, he is linked directly to the farm. We'll just call it the farm out in BC. So there is actual financial documents tying him to that property. Period. That is a fact, okay? So let's go back to this guy's last name here. This bad farmer who only got charged for 6 out of probably thousands and thousands and thousands of atrocities that went on that, okay? So his brother's wife, I believe this is her name, or she was friends with. So this dude's sister-in-law is high up in the goings-on of the BC government, and also I believe she was married to a mayor, but they all have financial ties together. It's all linked, like financially. So you can do 1 degree of separation or 2 degrees of separation financially to get from these people, like to that farm. It's super simple if you want to do that research. So why is this person? Because this person here is running one of the biggest organizations in Canada that pilfers money. I think it's even bigger than Apple. So it's a corporation that is just filtering money through the goings-on of this, okay? And that, like I said, financially, that's an easy degree of getting to that place. It's not hard. Not hard at all. Many articles. So what a lot of people are having a hard time digesting right now is how all of this is taking place, or how this money is going from one to another. And the best way I can explain it for Canadians, and why what goes on in the States is important, it's not just because of our birth certificates, which I'll explain in another video, and the money system, but it's how the political voting system and why it has to be dismantled. So I'm just going to quickly, not only is it the but these are tied closely together, and I'll get into that in another couple segments going further. So one way in Canada that a lot of people don't know what's happened, and people complain what this ding dong has done with our money. Okay, he's just a puppet. Right now, that's not even him. Take a good, close look at the teeth, the eyes, the ears, the speech, everything. That is not the same physical entity that was in the limelight 4 or 5 years ago. It is not the same. Okay? Period. End of story. So, but what's been going on since this clown has been as a puppet, we'll just, he's the puppet show. Because we all know he's brainless. Like, he has zero ability to be in power other than his bloodline. So, what they've been doing for years, and so this is Canada, and this is the US. And so we all know about these two parties. I'm going to just put those there because we've all been given an illusion that we had a choice. Okay? So what's been happening for pretty much anybody that's in the law states, the old law states in the United States, that when people go to make political donations, you can't do it under an anonymous donation, okay? You have to go and register your money, okay? But for years, behind the scenes, through the same guy from the beginning of the video, and this guy too, good old Frank, okay? And by the way, this is where Harry and Meghan went to stay when they went to Canada. Making sense now? And this is also where this guy's wife, when they split up in 2019, you can read about it in the Buffalo Chronicle, went and stayed here. This guy is a known period. Okay, so what they did with the money is if they wanted to register, say, for a bunch of these people, they would take their money and put it into the foundation in Canada. So they go and register here as just a big bunch of, say, 11,000 mafia people went and made a donation to this. So then these people go and write a check. And guess where the money comes from? So it's their way of money laundering. So whether we think we have anything to do with anything that goes on, the other thing that I should point out is all of these things that have happened not only have been bought and paid for, but they have gone through the same machines all over the world. Okay? So why whatever happens down here makes effect up here is also because our birth certificates are chattel in the Federal Reserve. Okay, so that means we're property of the Federal Reserve. That's what the capital letters on our birth certificates mean. So everything that we do up here, people go, oh, it doesn't affect us down in the States. Oh, yes, it does. Everything. So you want to do some research over the weekend, go look up USMCA, this clause, and go in and see what happens when your leader is doing corrupt things, okay, sending our money to places where it shouldn't go, and then how that affects the outcome. So basically, this whole these trees and logs are the linchpins to unraveling and reprogramming people to see where we have to activate our own knowledge at this point. And what I mean by that is we must learn what these people have done at some basic level so that we can recognize why it's military and why these two things have no place right now. These two things are both man-made, okay? So this is why, because everything from it just goes from our bank, taxes. We think our taxes stay in our country. They don't. It's a foreign entity. It's a foreign entity. They're illegal. We shouldn't even be paying all of these things that we pay. I'm not kidding. It's illegal. So everything goes from there to that fake person I just told you about. Okay? And I'm going to tell you her real bloodline in 1 second, to the Vatican. And all of that has been dismantled. So I believe all of this is an old timeline that has to be shown to everyone to learn, to accept, to see where we were bamboozled as a whole society by these people that are all in these logs in these nasty trees. So I'll just, in case you haven't seen my videos where I explain who this person is, and I just put this because I don't think she deserves the okay, so her actual father, come on guys, all you people that tune in, I'm gonna let you try and answer this one. Oh wait, comments. Do you know who her real father is? Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Oh yes, and thank you for putting that NXIVM in there, exactly. Thank you, that's the other R word. See, it's just out of my Rockefeller, thank you. Her father is Rockefeller, but plus a maid. Does that sound very royal to you? Nope. Sorry. You're no better. Do you know who her half brother is? Same father? Moving on. I don't know if you guys watched that other pervy wood thing, but they said that I had to produce 2 children with PC. Incorrect. Those are not his children at all. She is the most, we know, benevolent person that was in that family. Oh, she just wanted to do right by everybody. But his dad, and we learned this from Greg last year, is Juan Carlos of Spain. And then Harry is the Hewitt kid, and everybody knew that. But a lot of people didn't know that was number 1. The number 2 is the one we see now, and is a dude. So, there you go. This is my interpretation. This is what I see in my timelines. And all of these people have been dispensed with. So some of the movie that we've been seeing is Oprah having a meeting with these two, talking about skin color and all that BS and how they left the... Where did they go again? Frank's house. Who's Frank? Oh yeah, a pedo. Are we all paying attention? We have been, like, the more you realize that these people have all been participating in them being the on top and how we're all not equal to that. Now this movie is over. It's over. It seems like it's still going on because these timelines are all being talked about right now. But look at how much they're bringing her in TV right now. Mainstream is like, oh, the death of her might have been a British thing, or the blah blah blah. They're talking about her. They're putting a lot of things on CNN and all of these places. Why? What's going on? Well, they have to show you everything in this crappy movie that we've been living out, and to show us that we're all equal in this paradigm here. So this is the way that the military has to activate everybody into their own power. Okay? Because in this, we're all part of the collective consciousness tapped into creator, correct? So if we're all activating here, it's almost like all of our light is shining so bright that this darkness just gets dissolved, and our own human DNA, biological entities here, and our collective consciousness co-create this new reality of how we treat each other as we the people. And part of that is, I got ahead of myself all the time, is natural law. Okay, so the one thing I want to point out here is the laws we've been under is, land is common law, natural law. Air and water are admiralty and maritime law. This is where we're chattel. This common law is about sovereignty, and we have to switch it in paperwork to get from one step to the other. And natural law is the way we're going to do this. This is God's law, and it's do no harm. So which world do you want to live in? The one where we're doing no harm and helping each other, or the one where we're monopolized under and just being cows in the system of their crappy bloodlines that I believe have to be wiped out? How do they wipe them out? Whatever happens, that's what they chose. This is their soul contract, just like us. So that's the part that most people have the biggest problem with. They chose this, to be in this part of this matrix, to awaken people's pineal gland to join here. So if that's part of their story, if they chose to be this person, that's just the way it is. If that's what was created, it's the same. It's the same for this person. You know, she chose to be here during this time. I believe she pretty much knew since her birth what was going on. Yeah. So, anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. I hope it wasn't too long of a chart video. I hope you kind of get the gist of where my head's at and why I believe all of these have been dismantled. So I'm going to do a couple of segments maybe next week on some other things, and maybe Sunday night I'll do a little bit of announcement and let you know what my happy news is. But I really appreciate your time and watching my vids. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do before I shut this vid off is the one that everybody's talking about. I should have done this earlier, but let's just get right to it. Okay. Okay, her father, what the heck was his name now? Why can't I? Robert, I think. Okay, was buddies, and you can see pictures with them in here, okay? Now, his wife is a Maxwell. His daughter works for Twitter. Okay. We all know he's been in the government since the AIDS epidemic. That guy got in trouble back then, but it was all covered. So, and then obviously biggest, if you haven't seen that already. Okay. Oopsie. Okay, so this guy, you can go watch this, died in 1991 apparently on his boat called this. Okay? It was turned out that he was one of these people. She, like I said, is this. And so you do the math here. Oh yeah, and this was also tied to. And then what else? There's a lot of relatives basically. She has brothers or, well, we don't know if they're sisters. And they all have some link somewhere, okay? So they're all related again, all tied to each other. So this is gonna start coming undoing very fast because, like I said, if you go right to some of the big people that were on the island, and you can see in pictures, it's all gonna come tumbling down where the money went. Like all of these documents. So when these that sealed black book becomes unsealed, we kind of already know what's gonna happen. Like the people who are already on that earlier list that I went through. So I'm super excited because it's like this snowball that's just gonna keep rolling, and literally nothing can stop it. So super excited because some of the people that have done a lot of the hard work in the background, you wouldn't even know who they were. So I'm gonna try and identify some of those, like I said, in another video, and do a chart of all the good people helping, besides Queen Romana and all of our lovely patriots out there. So, oh, look at my big thumb. Anyways, so thank you very much for tuning in. I have no idea how long this video is. I tried to see comments, but firstly, I should tell you, they're blocking a lot of my comments now. Ever since Queen has posted my videos on her page, they have filtered out my comments. So you might post a comment, I can see it in the notifications, I'll click on it, and then it will be gone off my page. Or people aren't allowed to comment at all. So, and they're really hammering me hard on Facebook too. Like, I can't post anything. I cannot repeat anything from a couple people's, and QR is one of them. So you gotta wonder why they're banning me so hard. Maybe I'm onto something. Just a thought. So anyways, light and love to everybody. I'm so super grateful for me just giving you these little connections, because it helps me make sense of all of these things, and it solidifies that all of these bad people to me are dealt with, because first, I can't feel the vibration as much as I did before, even last year, and that means just more and more things, not only underground but up above, are being taken care of. So I am so filled with gratitude and blessings for all the military around the world helping us stand together in our power. So have a good New Year's. I probably won't do a video for a little while because that one was like a mouthful. Light and love, everybody. Take care. Come on, shut up.